Hello, hi and welcome. I am Mohit Yadav and I am here today to share what key things I look for in a resume. I will also share my own resume that helped me get into multiple FAANG companies and also get multiple international offers. I've been fortunate enough to work at companies at the right time. Just to give you a glimpse, I joined Indus as a fourth developer. When I joined Hotstar, it was outsourced to a third-party vendor, so I was responsible for getting that third-party vendor out and build the team in-house. I joined a team in Nutanix, which was essentially a startup acquired just before my joining. All this has given me ample amount of opportunities to continuously learn at my job. Now, apart from learning, one important thing that matters during job hunt is your resume. In this video, I will share my resume with you and talk about 5 points that open door for FAANG companies. We'll learn the art of making a resume that makes you stand out from the crowd. So let's get straight to it. When I talk about making resume, the number one question that I've been asked is what should be the length of your resume? Or in other words, how many number of pages should be there in a resume? Now, people of varying backgrounds ask me the same question. People with 15 years of experience versus people who are in second year or maybe third year who are trying to apply for internship ask me the same question. Now, before answering this question, consider this scenario. There are over 10 to even thousands of applicants who are applying for a single position. And the employer will not have the bandwidth to screen such large volumes of their resume. Hence, help them out by making your resume concise and to the point. One-page resume will save not only the recruiter's time but also the time of your hiring manager and even the interviewer who's going to come and interview you. But how do you put everything in a single page? That might be the question that is coming in your mind. Now, the answer differs for person to person. There are two kinds of person out there. And my answer is different for both persona of the persons. Now, people who have very less content to fill up the space. These are mostly college-going students or people with lesser experience. What you can do is, you can try to add relevant projects that you've done in your college. And if you grade in any of the subject which is relevant to computer science domain, try to add that information as well. Just say, hey, I topped in data structures and algorithm course or maybe DBMS. But should you also mention that you topped in a course like technical report writing or any other humanities course for that matter? My answer is strictly no. Never put humanities course grades in your resume because those are not relevant. Try to keep your resume most concise and most relevant to the job that you're applying for. What can you do if you don't have material to add in your resume? What you can do is you can apply for internships. You can apply for college clubs and departments to gather as much material as you can to put down on your resume. So keep applying, and once you've got it, you can add that information in your resume as well. On the other hand of the spectrum, we have people who have lots of projects to write. They have lots of material that they can pen down in their resume. Now, these are primarily working professionals who have been working in this industry for 2 to 3 years or maybe more, right? These years, they have done multiple projects and hence they can pen it down in their resume. Now, even if you have hundreds or maybe thousands of projects, do not exceed the limit of 1 page. You must restrict yourself to a single page resume. Now, choose a layout where you get maximum space for a project or maybe adding work experience. My resume basically falls in the second category where I have a lot of projects and work to showcase, but I have to keep it concise just so that it can fit in a single page. And this is going to be the major talking point of this video. Second point is layout. Now, when I talk about the layout, I'm going to give you information that is more suited for working professionals. Now, having said that, if you have enough talking points on your resume, feel free to incorporate the same strategy in your resume as well. I typically go for 2-column layout where the left column occupies 30% of the space and the right side of it occupies 70% of the space. What do I keep on the left side? I typically include my skills, education, awards and recognition, and maybe my social profile links. It is important to note here that these four sections, the ordering of these four sections is not fixed, meaning you can change it as per your needs. In fact, it is better to change it according to your profile. For example, if you are from a tier 1 college and have good grades, it makes sense to keep the education in the first section. In education, refrain from adding 10th and 12th standard marks since they are not relevant. I keep my skills at the top because they outshine my college degree. I'm not a CS engineer by degree. I'm an electrical engineer, electrical and electronics engineer. Hence, I try to keep my skills at the top and education at the bottom. And if you notice, I've also created subsections in my skills that makes my resume much more readable. You can also club similar skills together and then write down the skills. Keep the award section and the social profile section links in the last two sections. So it can be either skill or education at the top. These will be the first two contenders when it comes to the left column, and the last two contenders will be awards and recognition and social profile. Should you add hobbies and stuff like that? My answer would be no, it is not required. On the right side of the things, we keep the employment history along with the projects that we have undertaken. Third point, which is employment history. This is where you must spend most of your time. Start with the most recent one and then continue in the descending order. Each employment must have two things. One is the company name and the duration for which you have worked in that particular company. Now there are two optional parameters that you can write, and I'm giving my personal opinion on this. People do write it, some people don't write it, right? The two optional parameters are, first is location. Now this will help filter you out if the company is only looking for candidates who are currently based in a particular location. So for example, if I am working in Bangalore and there is a XYZ company who's looking for candidates, but they don't want to spend on relocation, or maybe they have some other location constraint, and for that reason they are only looking for people who are currently in Bangalore. It will help them filter you out if you don't match the location preferences. I typically write location in my resume since I don't want to spend my time in interviewing with the companies that have such location constraints. The second one is designation. Now your designation might aid or forbid you in getting a good role or a designation in the company that you are applying. Let me explain this with an example. Assume that you are a 4-year experienced candidate who is at SD3 level in Amazon. And if this person writes his designation, it will have a positive impact. Whereas a person with 8 years of experience working as an SD2 in Amazon will have a slightly negative impact while negotiating a good role or salary in his new company. These are my personal opinion. So please take it as a personal opinion only. Negotiating a good role and salary is a different beast in itself. I will do a separate video on that soon. So I'll just omit that section for this video since it's a different talking point. Then comes the part where you need to mention the cool work that you have done in the particular job. If you have done multiple projects, add only the projects that have made significant impact. How do you measure significant impact? To measure that, I'll give you a few driving factors. Depending upon the nature, it can be engagement, that has your contribution resulted in consumers using your product more than before. Earlier, people were, let's say, spending 2 minutes a day on your application. Now that has increased to 5 minutes. That's a significant jump. Second is revenue. If your product has helped the company achieve its revenue goal or increased the revenue that it was generating earlier, that's a good and significant impact again. Customer acquisition. Earlier, your number of users who were using your product was, let's say, 100K, and now with your contribution, it has increased to, let's say, 1 million. That's a significant contribution again. And then comes the dev metrics as well. If you are applying for, let's say, a developer productivity role, DevOps, or maybe site reliability engineer, or maybe some dev aligned team, then dev metrics makes much more sense. What are those dev metrics? Reducing the latency of your system, reduce the infrastructure cost by a significant amount, increase the developer productivity by introducing new tools for deployment or delivery, or you have significantly increased the productivity of developer by any other way. For example, at Facebook, if you have developed Cassandra, that's a great. You have not only increased the productivity of developers within Facebook, but outside of the Facebook world as well. So if you have developed such kind of a system, definitely mention that in your resume. Now, always start the line with the action verb, justifying what contribution that you have made in the project. Also highlight your key accomplishment as a part of your job. And it is a good idea to mention the tech stack of a particular that you've used in a particular company. That will help the interviewer gauge information about the latest tech stack that you have worked on. Having said all this, should we always select the projects that have made the most significant impact? My answer is no, you should not. Select the project that is most relevant to the job you are applying. If you are applying for a data science or a data platform engineer kind of a role, in that case, it makes sense to include projects related to data platform rather than I developed so-and-so API which scaled to XYZ TPS. That does not make sense, right? So keep the project information very relevant to the position and the role and the type of company you are applying for. My fourth point is some shady ways that you should keep yourself away with. Now, many companies use softwares to read and filter candidates based on internal algorithms. They are AI-driven algorithms. To bypass them, what people generally do is that they add all skills and jargons that they even know or heard of while making a resume, and they write those jargons in a white ink, meaning that it will not be visible by a naked eye, but if there is a software which is reading what text is written in this particular document, they'll be able to get hold of that particular jargon and thereby bypassing the AI filter criteria. And then it will go to the hiring committee or maybe the recruiter for review. I would not suggest someone to try this though. Try the best way to upskill yourself and get your resume noticed is to keep learning in the area that you want to apply. If you're interested in applying for data science, try and learn data science and then put it down with a black ink. Getting your resume shortlisted by AI is one thing. Clearing the rounds and then excelling at your job is even more important. Hence, do not go for such shady hacks. My last point is around how do you increase your chances of being shortlisted. The best thing that works and is a clear winner if I compare all the other strategies is getting yourself referred. Try to get hold of a person who's currently working in that company and go for an employee referral, because that is when you will have maximum chances of getting an interview call. The second thing that you can do, if let's suppose you don't know anyone in the company who's going to refer you, is to write a personalized cover letter to the HR, mailing the HR or mailing at the careers page. Always make the cover letter personalized to the position and the company and the team you are applying at. Even if you are applying at Google, your cover letter will change depending upon which team you are applying in. I wrote a different cover letter for Amazon Prime Video team in London and a different cover letter for Amazon Payments team in Bangalore. Both of them have different work and hence a different cover letter. If you have time, do make a different resume for each of the profile as well. That was all for this video. I hope you like the content. We'll be doing similar content in coming days. Hence, it is important for you to please go and subscribe to our channel so that you get notified about upcoming content in similar domain. Also, please like, share, comment on this video